Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my 2025 reading journal setup. This year I've decided to go for a scrapbook theme again. If you remember from last year, I tried out a scrapbook theme in my reading journal and I really enjoyed it. And last year I went for a black and white theme, so this year I decided to go for a color. And if you saw my bullet journal setup, which I will link in the description, so make sure you go check that out. In my bullet journal setup, I decided to go for a sort of monochrome dark green color, and my other favorite color at the moment is kind of like a cranberry color, and I have a brush pen that's kind of the color, so I decided to theme my reading journal around a sort of cranberry pink. And I've actually in the past not really liked using pink in my journal, so this is slightly out of my comfort zone, but I really like how the setup turned out. So on the first page, instead of starting right in with my cover page, I always like to do a sort of intro, easy spread. And for this, I chose to do my rating system because I've decided to actually try and sort of have a rating system instead of just going, yeah, that felt like a 3.5. Because I've been looking back at some of my ratings from this year and I've been like, that should have definitely been lower. It's always lower because I'm bad at rating books under like a 4-star because I feel bad, but you know what? I need to start being realistic. Like, sometimes books are not a 3.5, they're a 2.5. So I decided to go with a percentage sort of thing, and it's not like anything fancy. It's literally just I give the book a percentage in increments of 5 or 5%, and then that correlates to a rating. So say I rate the book 80%, that's a 4-star. Pretty cool. It's not that hard, but let me know if you use this rating system too, because I'm sure I don't have original thoughts. Anyway, on the back of that little pullout that I made so I can use it when I'm going through and rating books, I wrote down like a sort of spice scale, a romance scale, because I don't tend to read a lot of romance books, so I always like to include like if there was romance in the book or like how much romance there was. And I also had a blood rating or like gore rating kind of, because I don't really like gore. Even reading, especially not watching, like I can't watch movies that there's gore in them. So if I were to read, say, a thriller or a horror book, or even a fantasy, I would include how much gore there was. And at the bottom, I wrote some like things to remember when I'm reviewing my books, since I do post them online on Instagram. Make sure you check out my Instagram for monthly book reviews. I just need to keep in mind like objectively like what I can talk about in my my review, so I just wrote down characters, world building, plot, writing, so I need to remember to talk about those in my reviews. And after that quick spread was done, I can get into my cover page because I feel like warmed up in my journaling. So I decided to draw out 2025 with that brush pen I was talking about. As you can see, it's a sort of cranberry pink color, and I found a couple mildliners to go with it, so hopefully my setup actually looks cohesive. But I decided to use this butterfly sticker after going through a couple of mushroom stickers, and I definitely want to get to using these mushroom stickers at some point in this setup, so hopefully I can get to that. But I think this butterfly really ties it all together, especially with the flowers. And then I put some washi tape at the top. I think it might have looked better at the bottom, but whatever. And then I was thinking about stamping out reading journal underneath, but I figured that I didn't have enough space, so I just ended up leaving it how it was. On the other page, because I decided to just do a 1-page spread for my cover page, because I have a lot of beginning spreads and I don't want to take up too much space. So I have my goals on the other side, and this means when I come back to look at my goals, I can also come back and look at my cover page, because usually if I make it a 2-page spread, I actually just never go back and look at it, and I like what I've done usually, so I like to come back and see it. So having my reading goals on the opposite spread, it means I can check it probably like every month or every 6 months, which is more than once a year. So I just put that little scrapbooky heading, and I used my stamps to stamp out the title because I am not very good at drawing fonts and I'd rather it look nice. So I will actually use it. And I decided to use a mushroom sticker on this spread because I have a problem with like actually using my stickers. Like I get my stickers and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to use this, it's too pretty, but like I need to start using them because if I never use them, they're just going to sit in my little organizer and I'm never going to see them. So I decided to use my mushroom sticker on the spread, and I covered the whole bottom with some sort of scrapbook papers because I realized I don't actually have like that many reading goals objectively, so this takes up a little bit of the spread and makes it look nice. And now we are moving on to my books read spread. I made this a Dutch door because I read way too many books just for a 2-page spread. So I'm actually thinking about possibly having this journal just last me 6 months, but I did set up all my beginning spreads for 12 months just in case it does last me the whole year, or say like 9 months or something. I don't know what I would do if it lasts me 9 months. I'd probably just buy like a traveler's insert or something for the last 3 months because I don't want to start a whole new journal just for 3 months. But I'm kind of planning on making some more scrapbooky like book spreads, like full page book spreads, because this past year I was just seeing if I actually wanted to keep up with a reading journal and continue to do it, because the year before I had kind of fallen out of journaling, and even last year I was kind of struggling with my bullet journal, or not last year, 2023 actually. Wow. Well, I guess it's last year because it's still 2024, but anyway, in 2023 I was kind of struggling with my journaling a little bit, but this year I've really like fallen back in love with it, and I really like what I'm doing in my journals now, so I want to expand on my reading journal and start making like full page spreads for certain books that I really like. So I'm obviously assuming, due to the number of books that I read, that that'll take up more space. So I'm planning on this journal lasting me 6 months, and I'll just come back and fill in the beginning spreads each month in this journal just so it's full. And I've actually brought back the bookshelf spread this year. If you saw my 2022 flip through, and I think I made one in 2023 as well actually, but I made a bookshelf spread, and originally how I was doing it, I don't think that was working for me, like filling them in, like drawing the books as I go. So now I'm doing the normal style of drawing out all the books at the beginning of the year and then filling them in as I read them. And my key is going to be based on the format. So I'm just going to fill in, I'll probably fill them in order, but honestly I might just do random. But I think in order makes more sense. So I'll just fill in the color based on the format of the books. And this one I did set my color key already at the end of setting up this spread. But a lot of the other spreads I haven't like fully filled in, like my 25 and 2025. I do have like a kind of plan for that, like an outline, but I didn't want to set in stone anything yet since it's still the middle of the month. So I made a poll the other day of which video you guys would like to see on Christmas 1 week from now in December instead of in like probably mid-January. So the options are a updated how I annotate video, or a 2025 reading plans and a 2024 like wrap up. So if you select the 2025 reading plans, I will be filling in my 2025 and 2025 and everything in that video, and I will still be posting that video anyway. It's just like voting on whether you'd rather see it next week or in the middle of January, or like near the beginning, probably like second week or something. So make sure you go vote on that poll and let me know which one you'd like to see next week, because I would probably start filming it this weekend, so I need to know. Anyway, I started coloring in all the little doodles that I made. I really like the plant doodle. And then I did the key at the beginning, or at the top, and now I am making my 25 and 2025 spread. So as I said, I have like a plan for this, but I didn't want to print out all the book covers and then decide that I wanted to switch out some of the books. So I did just make a heading for this spread, and then I'll show you in a different video which books I picked for this spread. But I really like how the ripped out cue card looks at the top, so I think this turned out really well, and I like how I brought back the other heading font that I've been doing, so it kind of ties in a little bit more. And I like all the papers that I picked. I think they really fit the color scheme well, and I really like the washi tapes. Actually, I'm just lucky that I had a lot of washi tapes to choose from. And now we are doing my anticipated releases. So last year I just made this one page, but I think I need a little bit more room because a lot of books are coming out next year that I want to read. And like a couple that I can just think of off the top of my head are Onyx Storm, which is the third book in the Empyrean, which is Fourth Wing. The third Emily Wilde book, I'm really excited for that one. A Steeping of Blood, which is the second in the Blood and Tea duology, and the first one was The Tempest of Tea. I'm definitely excited for that. And there's just so many books next year that are coming out that I've been getting so excited for. And I've been like looking through Goodreads and seeing what's releasing next year, especially authors that I like haven't heard of before. I'm really trying to find books that are releasing that I've never read, like from that author before, or it's their debut novel, because I want to try to broaden my horizons and not just like write down the anticipated releases of the authors that I know I love. I want to try some like newer books or newer authors. But obviously I do have a lot of my favorite authors or authors that I read before and liked, or series that I'm continuing, just because that's like what I know to look for when books are releasing. So let me know below what books you're excited for next year, so then I can check them out and see if I want to add them to my list. Now we're working on my series tracker. If you remember last year, I made a separate series and duologies tracker just because I read so many duologies, and I really liked how that turned out, but I do want to go back to my old style of series tracker with the little boxes that you color in, like it's just one big box, then you write the series title and books on the side, and I just decided to make it 2 pages so I can add all my duologies to that as well. But that was a pretty quick setup because I don't have the list of series beside me right now, so I'll be going back to fill that in later. This is my 5-star reads. If you remember my setup from last year, I made book covers for every single book that I read, and I really like how that turned out. I love how it looks. I love looking back at all my books. But it's just not like, it's not just something I want to continue doing, because the paper for my mini printer does cost quite a bit of money, and since I read so many books, they, like printing all my covers out takes a lot of the pieces of paper. So I decided to just print out the covers for my 5-star reads next year, and I left myself space for 32, I believe. Which is a lot, but this year I did have 36 5-star reads, so hopefully I have less next year, but like also I don't hope that I have less, I hope that I have more. So if I have more, I'll just make another spread and keep going. And I made a reread spread on the other side because I want to reread a lot of books next year that I've loved and annotate them. And on the left side here we have my books bought spread, where I just note down where I bought them, which book it was, how much it cost, and if I read it before or if it's a new book that I'm buying. And on the right side I have a physical TBR because I really want to try and cut down on my physical TBR. Even though I only have about 30 unread books, that's a lot because I would say I only have like around 100 books. So like in my collection, I don't have a very big book collection because I don't have enough money to buy a lot of books, But I decorated the shelves with a couple of decorations that are actually on my bookshelves that I have here. And then this one I'm going to color in based on the star rating that I give it, and I'll just write the title in the little book space. And then I will color it in based on the star rating I give it, and hopefully they're all like 4 and 5 star reads, because I don't really want to own books that are not 4 and 5 star reads. Now this is my top books of each month, and I really like to print out a little cover each month of my favorite book, and at the end of the year they all go head to head in my book bracket, which I'm excited to make for this year because I've had so many good reads. Oh, the other reason that I'm making my 5-star reads one is because some months I have like 8 5-star reads and some months I have 0. And then when I go to this tracker, I just have to pick one 5-star read, or I just have to pick like my highest rated read, and it could be like a 4-star. But then some other month I've had like 8 5-star reads, so it just feels a little unfair. So I want to make sure I highlight all of my 5-star reads of the year. And this last spread, we're finally on the last spread, is my money saved tracker. So I like to read a lot of library books because, again, I'm not rich, so I can't be buying like all 130 books that I read every year. So I decided to finally start keeping track of how much money I'm actually saving by reading from the library, and I will be including Libby books in this at full price, because if I were to buy them, I would be buying a physical copy because I don't have a Kindle. So I wouldn't be buying the ebook, I would be buying the actual physical copy. So I am going to include the full price for Libby books, and they will be included here. So I just have 3 columns, one for the month, one for the number of books that I read from the library or Libby, and one column for how much money I saved that month, and then I'll be doing a total. So in my monthly setups, I will have to kind of track the money that I would have been spending. And now it's time for the final flip through. I'm really happy with how all these spreads turn out, and I think they'll be really useful for the new year. So let me know which is your favorite spread that I made today, and I hope to see you again on Sunday for my January bullet journal setup. I am actually hoping to post monthly resets every month, like kind of the week before the month starts, or like the first weekend in the month. And in those videos, I am hoping to include my monthly reading journal setups and like a monthly TBR or a wrap-up of the month before. So if you're wanting to see my reading journal setups for each month, make sure you go check out those videos. The first one will hopefully be releasing at the end of the month. And make sure you come back next week for my how I annotate video, or my 2025 reading plans and 2024 wrap-up. But we are coming up to the end of the video, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. And I will hopefully see you in my next video or one of my previous videos. Thank you so much for watching and setting up my reading journal with me. I had a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that it turned out well. So I will see you on Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.